Thank you so much for joining me in the Confident Sober Women Facebook group. I am so glad you guys are here. We are talking all about ways to take care of yourself on a budget, right? Because this concept of self care is beyond important. It's, in fact, critical for women in recovery because most likely, if you're anything like me or most of the women that I know, when you were in active addiction, you certainly weren't taking care of yourself, even if you thought you were. Sometimes we can say, well, I was eating really clean or I was doing this, but you weren't taking care of the insides. And more than likely, you really weren't doing a lot of that at all. And sometimes it's confusing when we hear the term self care, we start to think, like, oh, that sounds selfish, or that means that I'm putting myself before others, or it's expensive. These are some of the common objections that we hear when we use that term. But I really want to break down the barriers for you and begin to implant some kind of tools, strategies, practical things you can begin to put into place right now today. Okay? So you're tracking with me? On Monday, we talked extensively about why this is even important, right? What is the actual definition of self care? Why is this important for living well in recovery? If you didn't see that video, I would encourage you to go back in the feed and find Monday's live video and watch that for yourself so that you can kind of track with what we're doing here today. Because now we're actually putting strategies you can implement in your life today and even better on a budget. Okay? So a lot of this is really thinking about things a little bit differently. It's really considering how maybe certain actions or time spent can be forms of self love. So some things that you are already doing in your life in certain ways can be kind of up leveled, if you will, to become forms of self care. And that's what we're going to talk about. So thinking about it in this context while you're doing it will really elevate your experience and really benefit your emotional and your physical health. All right, so let's dive right in. Number one is check off the basics. What do I mean? I mean, often the most accessible self care is also the cheapest or free. Okay, check in to see if you've taken care of yourself properly today. Have you had any water? When was the last time you took a relaxing shower? And I'm not talking about the kind where you are in and out in 5 seconds because your kids are there or you've got to be somewhere or you're late for work. I meant the kind where you literally stand in there and take your time. Maybe you shave your legs or do a hair mask or enjoy the hot water on your skin for like an extra 5 minutes. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you had a healthy, well rounded meal? Meaning, like, all of the food groups were represented, or actually using a fork and a plate. Oh, and while you're actually sitting down, when was the last time you did that? Very often, if you're busy, running kids, you're working, trying to do all the things, you might be eating in your car, you're eating standing up at the counter, you're grabbing fast food or other such things. When was the last time you had a healthy, well rounded meal? What about a good night's sleep? When was the last time you had a good night's sleep? This is what I mean by checking in with the basics. So, these basics of how do you care for yourself really are forms of self care, which in turn equal self love. So, asking yourself these questions on a regular basis, but in particular when you're not feeling like your best self, or when you feel like you're a little off, or irritable, or discontented, asking yourself these questions can give you a huge amount of insight into where you're lacking in self care. Okay? So don't get too busy with your life to forget about the most basic things. And when you do, when you find yourself in that whirlwind, check in. When was the last time I had a glass of water? When was the last time I had a well rounded, healthy meal with a knife and a fork? And if it's been more than 24 hours, or definitely in the water department, more than a few hours, it's time to get busy with that. So add in that big glass of water, plan your next healthy meal that you can literally sit down and enjoy. Number two is go outside. This is another simplified version of a huge amount of self care because being outside is a critical part of our human nature. For most of us, it's winter right now. I live in Maryland and it's definitely cold. It's been in the teens overnight here, and sometimes we get a little bit higher during the day, but it's cold. But getting outside in the fresh air and especially in the sunshine is incredibly valuable for your health, for your physical health and your mental health. So get yourself a cute hat, some gloves, and bundle up and go outside. Go for a walk if you want. If you don't like to walk, you can just sit outside or, mill around your yard or your little neighborhood and just look around you. Find a local park or a trail to enjoy just simply sitting on a park bench. Plan to leave your phone at home, or put it on do not disturb because you want to have at least a few minutes, I would say at least 20 to 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. You could even put your headphones in and just enjoy a podcast. You could be silent the whole time. You could take your dog if you enjoy that, or don't, just go by yourself if you don't want to take care of anybody else. But being outside, breathing that fresh, cold air, and feeling that sun on your skin, or at least seeing it, looking around at the nature is extremely meditative in general. It really is, whether you're purposefully doing that or not. Walking meditation is actually another form of self care that I share extensively with my students in the Sober Freedom Transformation. We talk about that a lot because it's accessible to all of us. It's free. You can do it anywhere. You can do it if you're on a business trip, you can do it if you're on vacation, you can do it if you're at home, or even if you have, a loved one in the hospital. You can step outside and then get some fresh air and sun and go for a walk. It calms your nervous system and it helps relieve stress from your day. Number three is listen to a new podcast. If you're not familiar with podcasts, then you're missing out on a wealth of knowledge in every possible subject area you can think of. I'm not kidding. There are free and easily accessible podcast shows on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, Google Music. There are probably other platforms that I'm not even aware of on every subject. It's incredible. Think of things that you really enjoy. Maybe it's a sport or cooking or some other hobby or any subject at all. It could be inspirational, it could be recovery based, and then search that topic in your podcast platform and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll immediately be inundated with so many different shows with so many different kinds of guests, or maybe they're just solo episodes. And of course, you can check out the Confident Sober Women podcast if you haven't already. That's my podcast where I chat with incredible sober women doing amazing things every week, right? And it's completely free to you. So, where I want you to use this as a form of self care is to pick out two shows you really like in whatever genre. I don't care if it's totally inspirational, if it's comedy, if it's recovery based, if it's about anxiety, whatever it is. Pick out two shows that you either been recommended or that you find that you really like, and then become a subscriber to them and listen to them every time they come out. So maybe that's once a week, or some of them are every day if they're short. And you can use them while you're exercising. You can use them during your commute. You can use them while you're doing laundry or cooking or before bed, really anytime. Because allowing yourself this time and space on a simple pleasure, and often one where you're even going to learn something or grow in some way, is a wonderful way to make yourself a priority and show yourself this kind of love. And it's basically free unless you have to subscribe to one of these platforms I'm referring to. Okay, number four, I want you to add aromatherapy to your day. You won't believe, kind of like the podcast, the ways that you can add essential oils into your day to support your emotions, your physical health. It can support weight management. It can reduce anxiety, stress. It can increase your sex drive. It can increase your joy. There's like a million different kinds of ways to use essential oils and aromatherapy in your day. Not to mention the incredible research-based benefits of aromatherapy. This isn't just lip service from me because I love them. They literally are powerful therapeutic tools. But remember that not all essential oils are the same. I want you to be sure that you use a high-quality, organically sourced brand like Young Living, doTERRA, or Plant Therapy. If you buy them from big box stores or like the pharmacy or grocery stores, unless they're really reputable and organic, they are not going to be the same quality and could even be harmful to your health. So I want to make sure I mention this because the brand really does matter. If you have questions about that, just reach out, leave a comment or DM me. I'm happy to kind of share why that is and point you in the right direction. You can use them in the shower. You can use them in a bath for like a spa like experience. One of my favorite forms of self care is every day in my shower. I use a shower puff that I lather up with Dr. Bronner's Castile soap because that's what I use. And then I drop about 4 or 5 drops of Young Living peppermint oil on there, and I kind of scrunch it all up, and then I use that to clean my body. It's not only is it aromatically incredibly refreshing, and it gives a lot of energy. Peppermint is a wonderful morning oil, but it is so cooling on the skin and kind of gives you that tingly experience and it lasts for a few minutes even after you get out. It's just really cool. It makes me feel like I have treated myself to this very special situation that was extremely affordable. It did not take very much time. In fact, I was already going to wash my body, right? I just added these essential oils to it. And it helped to invigorate me in the morning, really helped me to wake up well. You can put essential oils on your wrists, behind your ears, on your lower back, the insides of your ankles, all over the place to activate these incredible supportive benefits all day long. And what's great is since they're not, pharmaceutically based, they don't have any side effects, you can use them, several times a day in a even different ways. You can put them in diffusers so that your room that you're in is aromatically fresh and pleasing and creates either like a relaxing mood or an invigorating mood or a sensual mood, whatever you're looking for. You can even use them in your cleaning. You can reduce the toxins in your home by using essential oils to create your own cleaning products in super easy ways. Trust me, I did it. I can share more with you about that if you'd like. It's easy to put a couple drops right into your palms and then bring them to your nose and your mouth and deeply inhale them. And that scent helps to reduce your stress, anxiety, even headaches or stomach aches. There's just kind of um, endless ways to use essential oils throughout your day to support you in a lot of different ways. And I would love to share more about that if you want, but I want you to try to find ways to add aromatherapy to your space. Again, this is a very affordable option for self care. It's going to feel luxurious. Like in my shower, I feel it's a little bit luxurious having all those oils, but it's not really. It feels slightly luxurious when in my office I have my diffuser running while I'm in here and create this incredibly spa like experience. And the fifth way I want you to kind of create self care on a budget is beginning to tidy up your space. We know that a cluttered living space or working space causes the brain and the body to feel the same amount of mess, right? If your area is like filled with stuff or not tidied up, that's the same experience that your brain is having on the inside. So, cleaning up your physical environment has a surprising calming effect on you, which makes a huge difference in the way you show up in your relationships, in your work, in with yourself even. Because sometimes it's difficult to settle down at night because your room is just a disaster area, right? Sometimes you might be thinking and sort of running wild with all of the organizational things that need to be done. But a lot of this is done at the unconscious level, like when you just walk in, your brain knows that all that clutter is there, and it just adds to the mess of your already activated central nervous system. So I want you to really take time to do this. Not only will it give you a sense of accomplishment when you begin to clean up some of your spaces, even if it's very small, whenever you walk by certain areas like your bedroom, if you walk by your bedroom and your bed is made and like things are sort of bright and fresh in there, you're going to get a little burst of joy and probably have a smile on your face just seeing things neat and pulled together like that. And cleaning and organizing can generate really a peaceful meditative state. I'm sure that many of you can relate to that. So take time to put things away, like mail, paperwork, trash, your clothes. Clear off the counters, put dishes away, clean things up in the kitchen area and your family room. Have kids help put toys away at the end of the day. These are simple tasks that will really allow your brain to fully relax in your space, knowing that things are in order. I want you to pay special attention to your bedroom with this one because creating a sleep sanctuary is super important for healthy sleep hygiene. And this is something we're going to talk a lot about next month. We're going to dive in one of the weeks on sleep in general. I have a very special training that I have to offer with you. I have a PDF freebie that I want to share with you about creating a sleep sanctuary because that is so critical for our mental and physical health, getting a good night's sleep. So there's probably hundreds of other ways that you can add more self-care into your life, and I just want you to be willing to look for them, right? Even standing in the line waiting at the doctor's office can be a great opportunity to practice your breathing techniques, right? You can close your eyes for a minute and build a gratitude list. You know, nobody knows you're doing that. Nobody can see you or hear you. You're just doing it in yourself, but it's a form of self-care. Your commute or to your office or driving kids around is a great opportunity to listen to content. That's a great time for your podcasts or a book on tape or even a webinar or anything that you can plug into your car and listen to. While you're in your car, it's also an awesome opportunity for kind of praying if that's a part of your story, or observing nature as you pass by and making kind of visual comments to yourself about things you see and why that's pleasing, and noticing colors. So make yourself a priority, and I want you to begin to build confidence today beyond recovery using good self care. It's not hard, it is required, really, for living well beyond recovery. So I want you to comment below and tell me which one of these resonates with you the most and how you're going to implement that in your life today. And I'll see you next week.